Hello and welcome to another edition of Luminar Coffee Break. I'm your host, Vanelli. Now, I'm coming to you live from Orlando, Florida. I wanted to take you guys outside, but Mother Nature is not being too good to us today, so I have to air this live inside the suite. All right, so our topic today is how to approach photo editing for portraits. And there are going to be three key steps. I want to show you what I do, and then you can try to incorporate that into your own workflow. All right? Well, let's dive right in. So here's a photo of my beautiful little niece, or my beautiful cousin, Angelique. Now, from here, traditionally what you could do is start from templates, and you let templates decide, or not decide, but help you along the journey on which tools will be used for portraits. What I want to do is something a little bit different. I want to start from scratch just to show you how to build your own template for portraits. All right. So here I am. Now I want to come in. Let me zoom in. Let's say 50%. There we are. All right. So here we are. A couple tools right away, right off the bat, I like to start with is the Enhanced AI. So I'm going to give that a moderate amount. Because remember, let me go back a little bit. Remember that when we're doing this, you're not just creating the template for just this image. We're going to create it for an entire series of images. So I'm going to start at a modest number. My light tool, I always come in and it's down here, black and whites. I love to enrich the blacks and bring out the whites just a little bit and apply a little bit of super contrast. Now, up to this point, AI here is going to, that accent AI is going to be adjustable for every image you apply this template to. It's going to reanalyze it and then apply what it feels you need at 36. So up to 36. If it doesn't need it, it doesn't apply it. If it needs it, it applies it. Down here with the light tool, smart contrast is part of the smart filters, the smart AI tools, to where smart contrast will analyze each individual image separately and again adjust it up to 8. Now, these numbers right here are fixed numbers. They're not part of AI. So I typically know minus 24 is decent for the majority of the images I work with. 3 is a decent number or a good start for the white points on most of the images. Those numbers are fixed. In other words, if the image needs it or not, it applies those fixed numbers to it. That's why what we want to do is apply as many AI tools to this as possible. So each image is going to be affected a little bit differently. All right? So let me come down a little bit and jump right into our portrait tools. All right? Face relighting, I'm going to give it just a little bit. I don't need a slimmer face because I'm not sure, not just her, but any of the people I work with, I don't know how much of that I need to apply, so I'll leave that blank. Now, for the eye enhancements, I love to be generous. So I crank that way up. Dark circles under the eyes, I'm going to move that way up, whether or not they need it or not. It's smart enough to know whether or not Angelique needs it, and then it'll apply it. I want to improve her eyebrows. And now come down to the mouth. Since this is going to be a female template, I am going to enhance the lips. I'll make a separate one for men. And even though there's no teeth in the image, I'm going to put it about 18, because if there are teeth in the following images, then it'll apply it. All right? So now I have that set. Let's come over here to skin. And with skin, I want to give it a generous amount. And in this case, there's no shine on her, but let's put just a little bit just in case. And what I mean by that is I'm looking into the future for the other images that may have shine on them. This will be applied, and I'm going to leave these two alone for now. So now I have a base. Later, we can add the mystical tool, the glow tool. We can add extra features to it to make it look really, really sharp. But for now, this is before, this is after. So what we're doing right now is we want to make sure that this image is good, not just for her, but a starting point for all the images that we'll be dealing with. So I have this set. I'm going to come up with one more thing I want to do is details. Now, I have a choice here. I can either use details, but again, these numbers are going to be fixed. So even if the image doesn't need, let's say, a maximum or the medium of 17, let's say 6, even if the image doesn't need it, it's going to apply that. However, Structure AI is going to put 14. If it needs it, it'll use it. If it doesn't, then it doesn't apply it. So in this case here, Structure AI is going to deal with the background of the image. It doesn't affect the skin tones because it's human aware. However, detail is what we needed to affect her eyes just a little bit more. All right? So we have a good set or a good starting point. Come down, save it. Now I'm going to come over to templates, and under my templates is one we just created. And then there's a picture of Angelique. I'm going to rename it. And let's name this SP starting point. Female portrait. And it's simple, so what do we want to call it? Let's put it, well, we already said it. A starting point, female portrait. Perfect. So now I have that set. So here we are. I'm going to revert back to the original. So here's the original image. We come in, we get done with our photo shoot. Now we have to edit the images. Instead of doing what I just did, going through all of those little, it wasn't a lot, but going through what we just did, all I need to do now is just click the starting point, and look at that, before and after. Now let's take it one notch just a little bit higher. Let's go back to edit. And I'm going to put this to 50%. Nope. Let's try 25. Yeah, that's better. Because I want to get a good, I want to see the overall scene. All right. So we already have our starting point. I don't need to go over and make any of these changes now. What I can do is get creative. So I want to come down to the creative tools. Let's click glow. Ooh, I love this Orton effect. Ready? Ooh, look what that's doing. Do you see that? And I can come down to advance. Here's the brightness. I can either increase it, but I'm going to choose to decrease it. And as I'm doing that, I want to finesse both of them. Put a little more softness in there. Contrast looks good. Great. Now let's see what it looks like. Before, after. Ooh, it just adds that extra something that we were looking for this image. Once again, before, after. That looks great. So let's come down here and let's save it. Back to the template. We already have it. Starting point, female portrait. Let's edit it, rename it, and we're going to call this soft glow. There we have it. Now, when I want a simple portrait, I can start with a starting point here. If I want a more of a stylistic portrait, I'll start here. Let me do one more for you. And while I do that, let me check, see if I have the questions up. Nope, I don't have the questions. All right. In fact, I'll check the questions in just one moment. All right, so I have my starting point here for portrait again. Edit. Now I'm going to come down here. Notice glow is not affected because I did the starting point. What I want to do is come to mystical. Ooh, yeah, look at this. Again, let's bring out some of the shadows. Good. Before. After. There we go. Look at that. And now I do know with mystical, it does have a habit of, you have to be careful of not blowing out the highlights. So I'm going to come down here, not optical, super contrast, and I just want to adjust the highlights just a little bit. There we go. And now I'm set. All right, come down here, save it, and let's rename it Mystical. There we have it. So now I have three templates that I can apply. So let me get back to here. It was a single image. All right, so let's pop that back up. What I'm looking for is if I brought in her entire catalog. Let's see, an entire folder. And let's see, Angelique. Oh, there's only one image in there. All right, so that's fine. So we'll use this one again. So I'm going to come in, adjustments, and revert to original. So there I am. Now you decide. I'm going to increase it just a little. Let's see, 25%. All right, here we go. So we're done with our photo shoot. We can just flip through, decide we want to do just a basic portrait retouch, or do we want to add a little soft glow to it, or do we want to take it even further and add more of a mystique or the mystical type look to it. Now I have three great starting points. And from here, you could take it one step further. Because this is the starting point for all the portraits, we can come over and edit now, and this is going to be really cool. Let's apply, ready, black and white. One of my favorites. There it is. And I know in the skin tones, normally, look at our skin tones, there's reds in skin tones and yellows, depending on the ethnicity of the subject. All right, that looks good there. So that's a good starting point for black and white. Save it. And then, once again, just rename it. And black and white. Now, notice I didn't go overboard with the black and white here. So, watch. Here we are with Mystical. I love that. Okay, so I decided, you know what? I love Mystical, but I love my black and white. Well, now I can just go into black and white and then get creative with Mystical. And even though it doesn't look like it's doing much, we'll do a before and after so you can see this. before and after. Look what that does to beautiful black and whites. We don't need to do the saturation because obviously it's in black and white. Smooth this, we can bring it out a little bit more and bump up shadows. Actually, for black and white, I want to bring the shadows down. And there we have it. Let's see if I can do full screen. Yep, there it is. All right, guys. So in the comments, let me know what you think. In fact, I'm going to try to pull up the comments. So let's see. One moment. Nope. So I apologize there. I'm not able to get to my comments unless. Yep. Yeah. So I'm not able to get to my comments. Let me try it one more time. Yep. Oh, here we go. This is promising. Nope, I can't get to them. So I apologize for that. I will review your comments and your questions, and I'll try to answer them once the episode ends. But do you see how that worked? What we're able to do is take a starting point. So that's step number one. Create your starting point. Don't go crazy with it, but try to use as many AI tools as possible. And this will apply for those that love to do landscapes. Take a starting point, then save it as your template, and then on the second run, then get a little more creative, save that one, and then the third run, save the third template for more of a creative tool. So when you're in the mood and you want to quickly edit, some of your images, let's say for the portrait, you come in, you've already created the template in step one. Now step two, apply that real quick starting point, because those are going to be or those are going to be the settings you were going to save anyways. And then third step, just get creative. So you let AI and you let your skills fill in the blanks for all of them, and then you add the extra stuff for your creativity. All right? Well, I hope that was very helpful for you. And again, I'll check the comments, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.